Hello and welcome to tonight's video. It is Friday the 7th day of December 2012. The charts in this video will show us the gold to silver ratio amongst the Dow. And before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the law of cause and effect slash freedom restrictor. I hear a lot of people saying we have no freedoms, which is true and false. It's false. No, you got all the freedoms in the world that don't go against universal laws. But the cause and effect is really saying, yeah, you might be right, you don't. For example, if you're in jail, you can only go in a small proximity. The cause was the enforcement to put you there, as long as the technology, steel, whatever is, or stone, or whatever is used to force it so you can't get out. The effect is you can't get out. Anyway, I have a few examples on here. If a store states that, and I said this in an early example today, they only accept gold and silver as payment, then the effect would be people not buying a government enforcement in play, which means if I decide to put a store where I'm selling tires, and, well, I'm selling a tire for, right now, it's an ounce of silver or 2 ounces of silver, and then whatever the ratio is with gold to silver is how much gold it costs. Well, not many people have gold and silver, so they'd be like, well, I really can't buy it, so that's the effect. They're not going to buy from you. As well, of course, as the government enforcement, the rule books that we have state that you must accept that so we can do this, and there's the effect from the cause. The cause of the fiat currency being accepted for generations and large interest rates has an effect of what we are seeing today, which isn't that good. Same with GMOs. You put them in the crops. Pretty serious. And the last two is the basics of the cause of saying yes or no changes results, making it impossible to predict the future. And each effect will bring about another cause that in turn has an effect, and that really gets into another universal law of everything's ongoing, basically. I think it's a law of perpetual transmutation or something like that. Anyway, but this yes or no thing, where if the people decide to say yes to fiat currency, then we have what we will have coming within it. And if they say no, well, then what the effects within that will play out. Now, the cause would have to be something totally different. We have the cause of a small percentage wanting it, when we've seen Occupy Wall Street and so many other different ways. But its effect is playing out but minute because it's at a small spectrum of the masses. Okay, let's move on to some charts, and the first chart will be the Dow Jones and the price of gold. You take gold, and whatever the price of Dow is, then you divide that. So Dow 13,000 and change divided by about 1,700, you get to about 7.72. This chart goes back to about 1999. All the charts that I'll show you are from the exact same time frame. Very much clear pattern, lower highs, lower lows. This is, of course, a key top. Now, a long time ago, the ratio was pretty much down to 1. We'll get to that a little bit more at the end of this video. But for now, the pattern, of course, has been bearish. Question is, what do we do from here? Because the pattern would break if you can get above this high, which was the last high. If not, do we go below this low? And an interesting thing is, when you look at something like this, if you see a pattern breaking down from 61.8% from here to here, and you see confirmation, then you know you're going to retest the lows, and I say that's at least what you do. In a situation in here where you see confirmation here that you're going down, well, at least a test of here. Yeah, and then you went down and you found that level of resistance. And then a situation again with this low and this high, you have confirmation here, say you're going to go at least have a test. Yep, we had a test, we went all the way down there. Again, we came close to finding resistance at the level. So that's why you come down here, it could very easily break it. And the old ratio is pretty much 1 to 1 from 1980. We'll get that in just a little bit. But now let's do the same thing with the price of silver. It's pretty much the exact same pattern. Higher, lower highs, lower lows. Trying to stabilize in here. It's got to get above this most previous high. If it shows confirmation in here, that's not going to hold. Stand below 300. I don't know why you wouldn't think it's going to be making a newer, lower low again. Now I'm going to put up an interesting little chart here. Now what we're going to do here is how an investment would look if you put 1/3 of the value in gold, 1/3 in silver, and 1/3 within the Dow. And that's what we're going to do here, calling it the 1/3s. So the index contains 1/3 of the Dow. So right now, of the 13,000 that we are seeing today, well, it would be a little over 3,000 of the 51,000. It contains 737 ounces of silver and, well, 13.5 ounces of gold. See, that gold to or the silver to Dow ratio is high. And I took 1/3 of what the ratio was when I have this data going back to 1999. I took 1/3 of the gold to Dow ratio, which at the time was, of course, over 40, 41, 42. Definitely this is a major uptrend, but notice the number is 51,000, showing the Dow hasn't really done as well, but it's all about periods and how each market is handling each time frame. But it's an interesting little pattern to say the least. Anyway, as far as some dates are concerned, let's look back at some older dates, and this will be the end of the video. 1913, which is when the Federal Reserve came into play. 1929, when the Dow Jones topped. 1932, when the entire market all bottomed around the same time. 1968, when the London gold pool exited. And gold and silver started trading within its normal time frames, as well as an area where the Dow was stopped, not going to go higher for a long, long time again at 905. 1980 was the top in the precious metals. And 2000 was the top in the Dow and the bottom in gold and silver. Because it's interesting to see here, 867 to 11,000 the Dow went up from. Where gold went from 850 to 280. And silver from 50 down to 5. And silver even retraced lower than this. This was what the prices were at the end of the year 2000. So if you want to know any of the ratios, you can get your calculator together and divide one by the other. And thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a nice weekend. Take care.